How is this even possible? A song released over a year ago is still breaking records today? Yes, it's true. And not just any song, it's Jimin's. BTS's Jimin is once again shaking the music world, proving that time doesn't weaken his impact, it only makes it stronger. Let's rewind for a moment. When Jimin released his second solo album Muse last year, fans were already blown away by its artistry. The songs carried his signature emotional depth, blending vulnerability with strength in a way that only Jimin can deliver. But no one could have predicted that more than a year later, two different tracks from the same album would be making waves on Spotify's biggest charts. First, there's Who. This isn't just another song, it has become a phenomenon. Week after week, it has held its ground, refusing to fall away. And now, it's been on the Spotify US Weekly Top Songs chart for 60 consecutive weeks. That's not just a milestone, it's a new record for any K-pop soloist in history. 60 weeks means over a year of listeners pressing play, day after day, never letting go. Imagine that consistency. Millions of people around the world keeping one song alive like it's an anthem of their lives. And just when everyone thought they'd seen it all, Be Mine entered the spotlight. 14 months after release, when most songs are long forgotten, this track suddenly debuted on the chart at number 121. It's like a hidden treasure finally being unearthed. A quiet song suddenly roaring to life because fans never stop loving it. That's the definition of timeless music. Now let's talk numbers because they tell a story of their own. Who has now surpassed 410 million filtered streams. But it didn't stop there. It also made history as the first K-pop song ever to enter Spotify US's most streamed songs of all time list. Out of every song in the world, Jimin's voice carved a place in the top 100, currently ranked at number 85. That's not just impressive, it's groundbreaking. And then there's the album itself, Muse. It wasn't just another release, it was a cultural moment. Today, it stands as the first and only K-pop album to surpass 400 million streams on Spotify's US chart. On top of that, it has charted on the weekly top albums list for an astonishing 54 weeks straight. That's more than a year of unwavering presence, a record no other K-pop solo album has ever achieved. But behind these numbers lies something even more powerful: connection. Jimin's songs don't just play in the background, they echo in people's hearts. His voice carries a raw honesty, a tenderness that makes every lyric feel personal. That's why fans keep returning to his music. It feels like he's singing directly to them. Think about it. Most artists release an album, and after a few months, the momentum fades. But Jimin? His songs age like fine wine. They don't grow weaker with time. They grow stronger, finding new listeners every single day, while still holding the hearts of those who've been there since day one. And maybe that's the real secret here. Jimin doesn't just release music, he releases experiences. His songs are memories, emotions, comfort, and courage all wrapped into melodies. That's why a track like Who can stay alive for over a year on the charts. That's why Be Mine can suddenly rise from the shadows over a year later. And that's why Muse as an album continues to stand tall, refusing to be forgotten. So here's the truth. Jimin isn't just surviving in the music industry, he's building a legacy. A legacy where time isn't an enemy, but an ally. A legacy where fans don't just listen, they live through his music. And with every record broken, every milestone achieved, he proves one thing over and over again: Jimin's voice is eternal.